are under long-term control, and Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll. And they have two key starting pitchers that are free agents after this year. So they may be buying as well. You know, Cincinnati is a team that has bought and sold at the same time, too. And those teams that you mentioned, like the Miamis, the Atlantas, the Washingtons, the Pittsburghs, certainly the Colorados, well, there may be a separate category. They don't have that many players that are super attractive to be able to acquire. And I put Colorado in a separate category because they just have never really done anything at the trade deadline. I mean, they have been, despite rumors upon rumors upon rumors for the last 5 years, they've mostly stood pat. Now, they swear that this time is going to be different, but I don't know if you guys were fans of the old Peanuts cartoons, but Lucy always swore that she was going to hold the football for Charlie Brown, too. So until the Rockies actually kick the football, I'm not sure that I'm going to buy the fact that they're in this, right? Like that they're in it to sell. So I do think that that complicates matters, and it could make for, I would say a modest deadline, but I'm assuming that there are going to be a volume of trades, and a lot of them are going to involve relievers, and some of them are probably going to be names where you go, now, who was that again?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Hey, Mike, obviously we're coming up to the All-Star break here. The home run derby is, a polarizing event, I would say. Some love it. Some hate it. I happen to be in the former category, but what do you have a pick? And if you don't have a pick, is it because you just don't care?
I wouldn't say that I don't care. I would say that I have a long history of being a poor predictor of things. All you have to do is look at my predictions before a season starts for baseball. I once lost an NCAA tournament pool to a quarter. The coin flip did better than I did, so I'm not very good at it. But what I would say is I think there are a couple guys that are really exciting in it. I mean, one, Ronald Acuna Jr. is going to be jazzed to do it at home, and he certainly has some rise to the occasion, and I think Jazz Chisholm has that as well. But the two guys that I'm really excited to see are Junior Caminero from the Rays and O'Neal Cruz from the Pirates. And if you haven't seen O'Neal Cruz hit a baseball yet, you have to see O'Neal Cruz hit a baseball. I mean, he hits it harder than anybody else in the game. Not even Giancarlo Stanton has hit a ball as hard as Cruz has. He is really impressive. And with Caminero, it's funny, we were talking on our radio show this morning to Brandon Lau of the Rays. He said when he debuted in Toronto, he took batting practice, and the Jays fans gave him a standing ovation the first time he ever took batting practice in a major league ballpark. And I think that's because Caminero just hits the snot out of the ball constantly. So I think it's a kind of a fun field, even though there aren't a whole lot of huge names in it. But it's going to be, there are some guys that I think are going to capture the zeitgeist.
Mike, let's talk salary cap. I mean, some of us have been around for a while, so the fact that there was a salary cap that eventually got into the NBA, the NFL, here the CFL, and the NHL is startling. But when you talk salary cap for Major League Baseball, you come up with apoplectic, work stoppage. It's just, how does this even happen, and does it actually benefit the game?
So I think those are two great questions. And remember that none of those caps happened without significant stoppages in all of those. The NFL hired replacement players, right? That's what led to the cap, which Major League Baseball tried to do in 1995 until a U.S. Circuit Court judge stepped in and said that it was unfair labor practice. Hockey has lost, a season and a half because of that, and one full season that was shut out to get the cap the way that it is. The NBA had multiple long work stoppages. Listen, I think that it's a really nice marketing tool to say, hey, this is a great opportunity for small market fans to have faith that their teams are going to get players that they wouldn't otherwise. But I haven't seen any proof of that. And I think really what it is like the Pittsburgh Pirates aren't suddenly going to start spending on good players. It's because the ownership is going to stay the same, right? Like whatever the floor is, the floor would be so modest in such a deal like that all it would do would be artificially inflate the salaries at the back end. Furthermore, I think, and this is one of the union's talking points, and I do think it is worth mentioning, it's been 26 years since we've had a repeat champion in Major League Baseball. You now have 40% of the league that makes the postseason. And there was this great study that was done a couple of years ago, I want to say 5 or 6 years ago, I think it was Ben Zomer was who did it, compared baseball's playoffs to the other postseasons, right? And In the NBA, 80% of the favorites win the playoff rounds. In order for baseball to have that happen, every round would need to be a best of 75. So if the goal is to be a postseason that gives everybody a chance, baseball's in pretty good shape in that regard. And really what a cap does is it may give you this marketing idea that things are warm and fuzzy, but it's a little like eating something with a little too much MSG. You're full at first, and then all of a sudden you're really hungry again. And that's because the owners are the ones who benefit for it. There was a story about a week and a half ago that the commissioner was telling investors, potential investors into Major League Baseball, that he had been going directly to the players for the last 3 years to say, you're leaving money on the table. And the response sounds like from the players is like, well, wait a second, like, why, if they're coming to us with this, could we believe that it's good? And I think that that's a fair way to look at it. I mean, the biggest people that benefit from any sort of a cap is management. And I don't know that there's anything that helps to drive competitive balance by creating caps and floors salary-wise. So I'm not in favor of it. I'm certainly not in favor of losing a season over it. I think, especially at a time where baseball is starting to grow in popularity again, based on the television numbers in the U.S., based on the attendance across the game, all of these things are positive. Even an off-season work stoppage would be, I think, tragic. And furthermore, while the commissioner has continued to say that a lockout is the regular course of off-season business, I do want to point out, I mean, I'm guessing that you guys cover a little bit of hockey. What happened with the NHL and the NHLPA this year? Certainly didn't feel like it was a lockout looming, right, when they get a new CBA done more than a year before the next one expires.
The speed record was set on that. So, as you were answering that, I was thinking that the other leagues, what it's helped is the value of franchises. I don't know if that's a problem in Major League Baseball, but you said investors, the commissioner going around to investors. What does that mean?
Well, there was a meeting in Atlanta, and it was, I think, hosted by the Braves ownership. And I think there were potential investors either in the Braves or into MLB ownership groups that were there. But you're right. That's what it does drive. And that is what the commissioner and several owners have said, is that because we don't have a cap, it impacts our franchise value. Well, I don't know about you guys, but my goal isn't to make billionaires even richer, right? Like, that's not, to me, I don't care how much money you're making. I have a lot of respect for John Middleton, the owner of the Phillies, who a couple of years ago said, nobody's going to care if I made $10 million on the season. What they're going to care about is whether or not the Phillies won the World Series under my ownership. And that's the thing, is that I think we have changed into a society that values the dollars and the bottom lines when it comes to teams more than what should matter and how ownership groups should be judged, which is on wins and losses, and as they continue to cut corners, and I'll take a shot at Jay's ownership for this there, I think it's so unbelievably cheap that they don't continue to not travel their radio broadcasters, for crying out loud, to save $70,000 US. It's a year. It is absolutely mind-numbing that they continue to cut these corners to say that they are poor, that they don't have enough money, when clearly we're still able to put on a season every single year.
No doubt about it, Mike. No doubt about it. Now let's talk. We're at mid-season here, or a little past, and MVP conversations come up a lot of years, but I'm not sure there is one this year. I mean, in the National League, Shohei Ohtani is the runaway favorite to do what he always seems to do, to be the NL MVP. And in the AL, if it's a race, it's a two-man race between Aaron Judge, who's the favorite, and Cal Raleigh out in Seattle. What are the odds that becomes more of a race and that Raleigh actually has a chance there?
Well, I mean, Raleigh's putting together one of the great seasons for a catcher of all time, but I also want to point out that Judge is the first, I think, 7-WAR player at the All-Star break since, like, Pedro in '99.
Right.
He's having another amazing year. So, listen, I think it's way too early to factor like who the MVPs are. I mean, certainly we know that Ohtani and Judge are probably going to factor into it so long as they stay healthy, because they're the best players in the league. But I think that could be said for just about anybody. And there's still a long way to go, right? We still have 70 games for all of these teams remaining, and that's a good it's not half the season, but it's pretty close. So I have a real tough time handing out awards or trying to handicap award season in the middle of the year. It's a much better question, I think, for the last quarter of the season as you get to the middle of August and beyond for the Cy Young and for the Rookie of the Year and for the MVP, certainly. But those are the guys that would be the front runners, I think, at this point, without a doubt. And, you know, I think there's plenty of guys that are having outstanding seasons. And you know, sometimes it's like, what happens if the Tigers, you know, continue on this, you know, miraculous run and Riley Green has an incredible second half? You know, is he, because of the narrative surrounding him, suddenly become one of those candidates for it, right? If, let's say the Giants ran down the Dodgers, you know, they're playing this weekend, and let's say, you know, let's say Logan Webb ends up dominating the league as both as a pitcher so much that he's a candidate for both Cy Young and MVP. I think we certainly have seen that happen enough that trying to gauge where things stand right now is still a little bit mushy.
Mike, enjoyed the conversation. Thanks very much.